So, have you ever wondered how big companies decide whether to launch a brand new, groundbreaking product? Well, in this explainer from the AUB Consulting Case Interview Prep Series, we're going to dive right into one of the most common case types you'll ever face: new product introduction. Okay, let's put you in the hot seat. You're sitting in the interview, and you get this challenge. Your client, a top tier university, has a really big idea: a totally new digital master's program for an entire region. Your job? Figure out if this is a brilliant, game changing move or just a really expensive mistake. This right here is a classic new product introduction case. You're going to see this pattern again and again, whether it's for a new app, a new car, or, like here, a new digital education program. The fundamental question is always the same: should we actually build this thing? Now, here's a super important detail. The client wants a positive net present value, or NPV, within 5 years. What does that mean in plain English? It means the project has to make more money than it costs, keeping in mind that a dollar today is worth more than a dollar in the future. So this isn't just about, is it a cool idea? It's about, is it a profitable idea? That single detail instantly sharpens our focus on revenues and costs. So here's our game plan for cracking this case. We'll break down the challenge, structure our thinking, crunch some numbers, do a quick reality check on those numbers, and then finally deliver a really clear recommendation. This is the kind of structured thinking interviewers absolutely love to see. All right, first things first, structuring our approach. I can't stress this enough. This step is absolutely critical. Interviewers are constantly saying that the main thing they're looking for is someone who can take a big, messy, ambiguous problem and break it down logically. A great structure shows you know how to think long before you touch a single piece of data. And the gold standard for structuring any problem is the Me-See principle. It stands for mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. Think of it like a perfectly organized drawer. No sock is in two different sections, and every single sock has a place. It just makes sure you don't double count anything, or even worse, miss a huge piece of the puzzle. For a new product case like this one, there's a really simple but incredibly powerful framework. We're going to look at 3 things. 1, the market. Who are the customers? How big is this opportunity really? Who are we up against? 2, the product itself. What makes it special? And 3, the company's capabilities. Can our client, AUB, actually pull this off? But here's a huge tip. Please, don't just robotically recite a framework you memorized from a book. As former McKinsey interviewer Victor Chang says, that's a massive red flag. You have to adapt it. So for our case, you need to tailor it to the unique challenges of digital education in the MENA region. You'd be thinking about things like internet access, different cultural views on online learning, and all the tricky regional regulations. Okay, let's dive into the first part of our framework, the market. And in the world of consulting, that pretty much always means we start with the numbers. We've got to figure out just how big this opportunity really is. Now, the goal here isn't to find the exact number of students. That's impossible in a 30-minute interview. What the interviewer wants to see is a logical, step-by-step estimation that gets you a directionally correct answer. Are we talking about a market of a few thousand students or a few million? That's the kind of big-picture answer that drives a strategic decision. All right, let's build this out together using what we call a top-down approach. We start with the biggest number we can find, the total population of the MENA region. Then we start slicing it down with logical questions. What % of people are in the right age group for a master's? Of those, how many already have an undergraduate degree? And here's the kicker. Of those, how many would actually be interested in a remote program? We just make some reasonable assumptions, round the numbers to keep the math easy, and see where we land. And boom. Let's say our back-of-the-envelope math gets us to an addressable market of about 75,000 potential students. Now, is that number perfect? No way. But it's an estimate built on a clear, logical foundation. It tells us the market is definitely big enough to explore, and this is the number that starts to drive the whole revenue side of our NPV calculation. So, we've got our number, 75,000 students. Great. But now comes the reality check. A case interview is never just a math test. Candidates who only focus on the numbers completely miss the bigger strategic picture. We have to ask the qualitative questions. Can our client, AUB, realistically capture a good slice of this market? And this is where we dig into AUB's actual capabilities. On one hand, they have a stellar brand and a rock-solid reputation for academic quality. Those are huge advantages. But on the other hand, can that translate to the online world?
they're going to face totally new challenges, like building a bulletproof tech platform, learning how to market to a much wider audience, and going head-to-head with universities that were born digital.
It's also so important to think about the risks. What could go wrong here? Well, regional accreditation is a huge one. Will an online degree from AUB even be recognized in every single country? What about internet access? And what are the competitors going to do when they see this? Will they launch their own programs? Thinking through these risks shows you're a real strategic partner, and the next level move is to suggest ways to actually manage them.
Okay, we've done it, we've structured the problem, we've sized the market, we've analyzed the real-world risks, we've done the heavy lifting. Now it's time to bring it all home and deliver a powerful, confident recommendation to our client.
This four-part structure for a final recommendation is just perfect. First, start with a direct answer. Based on my analysis, I recommend AUB go with a launch. Then, give your top 3 reasons why. After that, you have to address the risks you found and suggest how to handle them. And finally, propose concrete next steps, something like, I suggest conducting a pilot program in 2 key countries. This makes your recommendation feel real and actionable.
You know, at the end of the day, all your brilliant analysis has to lead to a firm conclusion. And how you deliver it matters just as much as the analysis itself. A great recommendation is given with conviction. It's not just about showing the client what they should do, it's about showing them you believe it's the right path forward. And that confidence, backed by solid, structured thinking, is what gets you the job.